In the grey, nocturnal embrace, when the celestial vaults resound with the swift rain, the secret chambers of Tivad transform into embodiments of wanton passion. The water spilled across the stone floor reflects peculiar silhouettes, as if long forgotten in this unrestrained night. Naked female bodies come into focus, merging in unearthly embraces with several masculine forms. Outlines become distinct as if painted by an artist's brush. At the heart of the ecstasy stands Tivad, the lord with phantom auburn beauties, their fiery hair blending with the living flame of his desires. Far behind, on a spread bed, lies Gideon, whose legs serve as an incendiary melody for the girl immersed in forbidden delights. Modest silence is disrupted by moans of desire, intertwining with the endless patter of raindrops. The mysterious whisper of the god's footsteps interrupts this human rite, and the images of the shimmering orgy dissolve, as if once again submerged in a sequence of rains. Only the peeling, dirty, and cracked floor remains, like the soul of the world they inhabit. The guard cautiously navigates through the entwined bodies, as though through the veil of reality he never even dreamt of. He approaches Tivad, knees piercing the stone floor, and his spear rises, a symbol of loyalty and submission. Yet Tivad's majestic indifference remains unwavering, and he continues his lascivious games, like a formidable king of the night. The guard, trembling before the unbridled power, carries his words through the barrier of indifference. In the dim candlelight of the vast chamber, a mysterious spectacle unfolds before Tivad. Female figures, like ghostly shadows, engrossed in their intimate actions with men, creating a kaleidoscope of desire. Amidst thunderous storms, their inflamed essences unite in the flames of unrestrained pleasures. Once again, the guard attempts to interrupt this eternal cycle of lust and servitude. However, Tivad, like a shard of stone in icy eyes, remains unassailable in his steadfastness. The guard's helmet, now unfastened, yields to his trembling hands, and he, swallowing fear, speaks.
Your Majesty.
Tivad remains unresponsive, continuing his debauchery.
Your Majesty, I wouldn't dare to interrupt you, but...
Once again, Tivad pays no heed to the guard's words. The guard, from fear, loosens his own throat as if foreseeing his fate.
Lord Emperor...
Tivad tosses the maiden from his lap and leaps, entirely naked, toward the guard, grabbing him by the throat.
Do you want me to crush your throat, you wretched worm?
You're...
At the same time, Gideon notices this and slowly approaches Tivad.
Brother, perhaps we should listen to him. I don't think anyone in the castle would dare interrupt your pleasure. Maybe someone has attacked us.
The guard looks hopefully into Gideon's eyes. Gideon smiles at him. Tivad, noticing this, glares furiously at Gideon and clenches his fist, crushing the guard's throat, killing him.
For such matters we have the commander, damn it!
With all his might, Tivad hurls the guard's lifeless body against the wall. Upon impact, the body flattens and slowly slides down to the floor. Tivad angrily storms out of the room. In the darkness of the night, under the rain, a cruel fate brings Tivad together with Othniel in the council chamber, the place where the destinies of worlds are decided and treachery hides in every whisper. Tivad bursts in, completely naked, a symbol of his unrestrained power. Darkness follows him like fire, caressing his body as if the raindrops were fragments of a curse. On the second floor, he encounters Othniel in Dan's armor, elegant and majestic, a symbol of the Empire's might. Rage gleams in Tivad's eyes, like fire on the edge of a sword, and he steps forward, powerful and resolute, like a fearsome god awakening from slumber. Othniel tries to evade, but Tivad, seemingly born from anger, transforms his hand into a weapon. His fingers become hard and sharp as diamonds, blades resembling deadly fangs emerge. The determination in his eyes knows no mercy. His hand slowly approaches Othniel's throat, a tool of inevitable retribution.
What were your instructions, pathetic scum?
Tivad growls, a hurricane-like wind sweeping everything in its path. Othniel tries to respond, his voice drowning in alarm and despair.
Your Majesty, we have serious problems.
But Tivad's wrath is relentless. The discontent lingering in the air, like the sound of rain against windows, envelops them both. Yet even in this moment, Tivad won't leave questions unanswered.
Don't you wait the answer.
He thunders, his eyes flashing lightning bolts of insatiable anger. In this darkness and humidity, their confrontation embodies the very essence of the night raging within his heart. Othniel attempts to justify himself.
Oh, I was supposed to disturb you.
But Tivad's anger doesn't abate. He grumbles furiously.
Oh, no one? Then tell me by all means, what was your guard doing in my chambers?
Othniel tries to explain.
I was supposed to come myself, but I decided to find the Emperor's armor more quickly.
Tivad questions in astonishment.
Why?
Othniel reveals the truth.
We were attacked, my lord. The Kirks, the Glake, they attacked us.
Yet Tivad's anger knows no bounds.
What? Are you trying to make me laugh, boy? Glake always feared me. He wouldn't dare.
At that moment, Gideon and Cero enter the hall. Cero shares the news.
Yes, Tivat. Those bastards indeed broke the truce. I just saw the dragon circle in the sky, incinerating everything around.
Tivad reacts with disdain.
Some filthy magic, nothing more.
Gideon makes a final attempt to persuade Tivad.
But brother, I've spoken to the guards who just returned from the front lines. They're saying the same thing. The Kirks, amassing an army, attacked us.
Finally, Tivad's displeasure gives way to concern. He releases Othniel from his majestic grip.
Very well. Then they shall experience my wrath. Don't let the women out of your sight. I'll be back soon.
With these words, Tivad leaves the room, his determination burning like fire in his eyes. In the next moment, we shift to the Niraln Castle's throne room. Sif, wise and enigmatic, sits on the throne, immersed in the reading of an ancient manuscript. Specks of dust drift with Sif's gaze, standing on the throne in the center of the hall. Suddenly, two guards accompanied by Alpha enter the hall. Sif notices the latter and joyfully strides towards him, leaving the ancient manuscript on the throne. With warmth and joy, he embraces Alpha.
Alfaro, my dear friend, you finally returned.
Sif's words are filled with genuine joy and long-awaited homecoming. Alpha responds,
Your Majesty.
Sif dismisses formalities.
No need for words, my friend. Rather, head to Belzia Angia and have a good night on the Emperor's account.
However, Alpha has his own plans.
Thank you, but your Majesty should learn something.
Sif doesn't object to offers.
Well, since you're not tired after such a long journey, take a seat.
Alpha complies, sitting on a chair and adjusting his attire slightly. Sif takes a goblet of wine and fills it to the brim, then hands it to Alpha. Alpha takes the goblet, ready to start the conversation. Alpha begins.
Before we begin, I think we should have some privacy, my lord.
Sif agrees.
Of course. Everyone, leave us.
The guards exit the room, granting them privacy. Sif asks expressively,
So how is he doing?
Alpha responds, reflecting his doubts.
In confusion, your majesty.
Sif seems surprised.
Jador, confused. Are you sure you were where you needed to be?
Alpha explains.
While he gathered us to warn about a threat, the root of all of this is something another, sir. He's significantly weakened.
This news makes Sif ponder. He looks at Alpha with interest, ready to hear more details. Sif raises a question.
And how do you come to this conclusion, dear friend?
Alpha responds, revealing his perspective.
Stop being naive, your majesty. He ages each time he uses his power, and he's obligated to fulfill the vow to pass the throne. Yet, he doesn't want to relinquish his power.
Sif defends Jador.
He's always kept his promise and would never go against his principles.
Alpha explains his point of view.
No, if that were true, he wouldn't have mentioned the Phoenix, who become a legend, to deceive all of us. The only principle he still holds onto his cunning, but he seems to have forgotten about Empress Sidora, who will expose all his schemes against us.
Sif begins to understand.
Ah, I see. So you've listened to her.
Alpha contradicts.
No.
Sif starts pacing the room, thinking aloud.
You see, Alfar, Sitara can't be trusted ever since the Danes dishonored her, and since then she's been pretending to be a loyal servant, all while preparing her vengeful plan behind their backs for centuries after Hamata's death.
Alpha suggests supporting Sitara.
I think it's worth supporting Sidra and outsitting the usurper.
Sif makes a decision.
We'll discuss this in the council.
Alpha confirms his loyalty.
In any case, my lord, I've merely voiced my votes. It's just the opinion of a humble advisor of yours.
Sif is not indifferent.
The opinion of the loyal advisor who has become my brother.
Sif catches Alphar's expression, where a smirk briefly flashes, followed by a smile that speaks of deep feelings permeating their friendship.
Now go and rest.
Alphar rises, bows, and heads towards the exit. Meanwhile, in the Empire of Dan, the horses stand still. Riders atop them observe the events, a massive gathering of Dane's forces on the city wall, armed with bows and arrows. Dan's commanders stationed on the inner side of the wall organize warriors into battle formations. Several hundred armored warriors line up in formation. An Imperial warrior slowly turns towards the castle, focusing on Tivad, Sero, and Othni, approaching the main gates. Tivad walks angrily, but at a moderate pace, while the others approach the castle more quickly. Tivad reaches the gates and scrutinizes the upper guard.
Where's the commander responsible for guarding the main gates?
Hearing Tivad's angry words, the gate commander Sid descends towards him.
Your Highness, I'm here.